Another loaded question.
There's plenty more where this came from.
I see. I see. We're here.
Hey guys, welcome to season 3. We're 2 or 3 episodes in of Untitled Success. It's your host, Tim Towfeless. With me today is a person who's a life coach, a mentor, and well-versed in theology. He is the owner of Heart to Soul Legacy. It is Emmanuel. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So first question I always like to ask my guest is, who were you in high school?
High school. Funny. High school. High school, I would have to say that I honestly didn't know who I was. So I can't actually answer that question because I think I simply adapted or became whoever I needed to be based upon who I hung out with.
Okay.
I've always gotten along well with people. So I've always been extroverted. But today I would say I'm more of an extrovert introvert, which is, you know, I'll have fun, hang out with people, very personable. But if I have a choice, I'm going to choose a cabin in a lake, somewhere isolated. And it's peaceful. It's calming.
Yeah.
I did play sports. So I did basketball and I did soccer. Soccer is actually my favorite sport to play.
Okay.
It was super fun.
But not to watch?
Only in the World Cup.
Okay.
World Cup. That's how it was.
Okay.
I played soccer because growing up on the East Coast, there's a lot of Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and Cubans, and that's kind of what they're into. I wanted to play football, but my mom wouldn't allow me. And that was because my brother, when he's older, he played football and got hurt. So by the time I came around, she let me play, but that's like 11th, 12th grade.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, these guys have been doing this for years. So if I go, they're going to take my head off. So
Yeah.
I think I was cool. And then I switched from sports in early high school to music. So then I started writing and singing and dancing. I used to dance battle, for those that don't know, you know.
Oh.
And when you guys served and all that was me. I was the guy in the middle, you know, when everyone circled around. I love dancing. I love it. And so, yeah, that's kind of, I guess, my high school experience for the most part.
Now, you grew up constantly in a military home. So how did that shape you early on?
Both of my parents are actually ex-military. That's how they met. My mom got out the military when she started having kids, and my dad stayed and he retired. So in a military household, it's almost like perfection isn't enough. So my father is the kind of person where he would say, if you're on time, you're late. You got to be 10, 15 minutes early. Again, MapQuest, for those that remember. I'm not trying to date myself. I think I just did. You know, MapQuest and phones that actually had cords. You remember those?
Yeah.
He would make us print out the directions for a place the night before, and then we would have to scout it out prior, just so we wouldn't be late, and then we would have to account for like traffic. So if we were sitting in the parking lot an hour and a half before, he was fine with that.
Whoa.
But if we got there 10 minutes before, 8 minutes before, he's not the happiest. So it's helped with business.
Okay.
But it does get in the way sometimes of my personal life. But as far as business, it's helped me with structure, discipline, pushing through
Systems,
all those kind of things.
Now, your dad is a pastor.
Yes.
And faith has been pretty much solidified throughout your childhood. Yet you kind of rebelled later on.
Oh, yeah.
Why did you push away and rebel?
Another loaded question. A couple
There's
reasons.
plenty more where this came from.
I see. I see. We're here. We're here, you know? For those that don't know, he seduced me with a Philly cheesesteak before, and now he's beating me up with all these questions, but it's okay. No. A couple of things made me push away in my faith. So growing up, I always felt that my faith was just unwavering, right? You grow up in it. God can do anything. He's all powerful and all these kind of things. And I went on a missions trip to Africa. I think it was like 7th, 8th grade.
Okay.
and I saw a bunch of things, just supernatural things, the blind seeing things when it comes down to demons and spirit. Like, just you see a bunch, and I'm just like, wow, God is so real. I come back to the States, and my grandmother, who on my father's side,
Okay.
she was one of the closest women to me. She was extremely nurturing and caring. We were extremely close. So she was sick and she was in the hospital. And so me as a kid, I'm thinking, well, if I'm seeing all this prayer and all this stuff go on with people that I don't even know, and the Bible says that God cares about me, well, let me go in and pray for my grandmother and she should be healed. Well, I prayed and she ended up passing away.
Yeah.
And that kind of was the first thing when I'm like, well, maybe God isn't all powerful, or maybe he doesn't care about me the way that I think. That's one thing. And then the second thing that made me rebel was that military mindset in our household. When you had questions about spirituality, it really wasn't up for negotiation. So when I began to ask questions or just express my personality, if it didn't line up with what my parents thought at the time were scriptures, I felt that this is what caused us to clash. And I think my personality is just stubborn. So if you push, I'm gonna push back harder. So I think the combination of those things, among stuff like that, is what caused me to just, you know what, you can have it. I'm gonna do my own thing.
This was majority in high school?
High school and college.
High school and college.
High school and
Now,
college.
that's interesting because in college you decided to study psychology and theology.
Yes.
And theology would probably lean towards more of, biblical studies.
For sure.
You would figure you'd be like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore.
You know what? It's funny because we make plans, but God orders our steps. So God had a different plan. It was kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
What I said I was or wasn't going to do. And that's how I got there. So I graduated high school in 2009, again, dating myself. So for those that don't know, there was that big stock market crash and all that stuff that happened.
This is high school?
This was high school.
Okay, yeah.
So high school, 2008, 2009. And I wanted to go to Full Sail University.
Okay.
That's in Florida for musical production, recording, business. But with the stock market crashing, any type of resources that we had to go towards making sure the house and everything was okay.
Yeah.
And I was really upset and irritated about it. And then I got this random letter from the school I had never heard of called Cairn University.
Okay.
And they gave me basically a scholarship for academics. And so my parents were like, well, it really doesn't matter where you want to go now. They're paying for it, so go ahead. And only to find out it's a biblical university. So the requirement is everyone graduate with a degree in theology or Bible, and then you can do whatever else that you want to do. But it was a requirement for the school.
Interesting.
They changed it halfway through, but by that time I'm already in it and I'm practically done. So
Okay.
it wasn't really a choice to do it. It makes sense now for things that I do, but at the time that wasn't on the plan.
Do you think it's important to understand both theology and psychology?
Absolutely. I lean towards, I'm a spiritual person in general.
Okay.
I do believe in God. I do believe in spirituality from my own personal experiences, from things that I've seen. And I believe, honestly, the science kind of proves a lot of things within the biblical worldview. I think that to help people holistically heal, you have to heal both parts. You give them different names, but it's good to have an understanding of both sides so you can holistically help people heal. Okay, so for example, if someone goes through a lot of trauma, you can call that multiple personality disorders, right? They develop different psyche levels or personality traits to get through it. On the spiritual side, it's called soul fragmentation.
Okay.
So same idea, but you can heal the mind, but the soul is still wounded, right? The spirit self is still wounded. And I believe having a better understanding of spirituality brings a holistic healing. And that's just from my personal experience.
One of the things that you said on I think a different podcast is that you draw a line between religion and relationships.
Yeah.
What's the difference and why does that matter?
Well, I said, religion and relationships and religion and spirituality. So I believe that true spirituality and in my belief as being a Christian, I believe it's a relationship you develop with God. I think religion is man's interpretation of a spiritual practice.
Okay.
So the problem that we have with religion, honestly, is that man is involved,
Okay.
right? And no one's perfect. Everyone is fallible. And I think this is where you get those things like church hurt, where it's the flaws of mankind and the rules of mankind that push people away from God.
Okay.
I think that's religion.
Yeah.
If you're actually practicing spirituality or what I believe God tells us, it's about learning how to love somebody. Now, loving someone doesn't mean you don't hold them accountable. Okay. The problem we have is when people are not healed, they take accountability as an attack. That's a different story. But loving someone is not judging them based upon the choices that they've had to make. It's about seeing them from who they are and calling them into a higher purpose, which is whatever God called them to be. So what did God call you? He called you a son. He called you daughter. He called you his. So who am I to judge you just because you might have tattoos or you use drugs or you did something else? You know, well, we got to deal with it. There's consequences for your actions.
Right.
But I believe, and I think this was Miles Monroe who said this, it's understanding that it's not your job to fix anybody, but to love them through their brokenness. And that's going to look different based upon the individual. That's why I believe it's relational,
Gotcha.
if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Now, so you're going through college, right?
Yeah.
You went to a college that is biblical and you decided to do psychology. However, in college, if I understand correctly, that's kind of when you started unraveling.
Yeah.
Can you take us through that? Like what happened and
Oh man. Unraveling in college. I think the best way to describe it is you take someone who's been stuck in a box and structure and then just release them. I think that's the best way to describe it. Okay, I'm not under my parents' thumb. I get to make my own decisions. I already have pride and ego issues. I know everything because, of course, I'm 18, you know? And then you just release me into the wilds of college.
welcome to a Middle Eastern household, man.
Yeah.
So,
So it started off, man, where I mean, I don't really know how to describe it. It feels like a blur.
did you party a lot?
I
you
did.
doing drugs, things of that nature?
Yes and no, because I've never done hard things. I've done party stuff.
Okay.
Like party drugs, but it's never been more of a like heroin. Like I've never gone that far, but your typical party drugs that come with college or whatever case, like, yeah, you know, you dabbled. I just feel like my personality, I've never had the need for them. Most of the times that I have used, it's generally been because it's been associated with like relationships that I've been in.
Okay.
Just the idea of like, okay, it's going to make her happy. If this is what she wants, this is cool. And that's how a lot of my issues just arose. College, why it got crazy is because, you know, the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he gets older, he won't depart. So no matter how much I try to run or party or do whatever, there was always this side that there's this conviction and, man, I shouldn't be doing this. So in order to silence it, let me party more.
Yeah.
And so this is where the cycle came from. I was always functional in anything that I did. And I think that was more so I was terrified of my parents. I also, my father did raise me to really focus on education. So I made sure, and I'm on a scholarship, an academic one. So my grades have to stay at a certain level.
Yeah.
So I think some of these were parameters that kind of allow me to still stay afloat to a certain degree.
Yeah. Not jump off the deep
Yeah,
end.
not fully jump off, man, but I definitely put a leg over there. You know what I mean? Definitely put a leg, you know, to see if I could feel the bottom. But I think that's how it was. So I got connected with a bunch of guys over there, and we just did everything together, good and bad. So our stories go from almost getting into fights or fighting to people to were studying for exams together. It was just a flow. It was about like 7 or 8 of us doing music together. So those were my main guys most of that time in college. But the whole time I was battling suicide because of that duality. So I would run to relationships and partying and different things because of just mentally, there's guilt, there's shame, other things that have happened, all those kind of things. And I just wasn't happy.
What led you through that thought process? Like, hey, I might commit suicide today.
I think it's just the pressures of life.
Okay.
The things that my parents said, they weren't bad, but they do have lasting effects.
Oh, for sure.
There's a concept of perfection. I'm still messing up. My family dynamic, I always feel, is my brother, what I would call is the epitome of a perfect son, of what they look like or what they wanted. Clean cut, works for the government, computer information. He's a nerd, but I love him. But I love him. And my sister at the time, she was doing sports medicine and that kind of, these are my older siblings. We're in the church growing up.
Right.
We are the family that you look up to. We're the pastor's kids. I remember families coming to my parents asking if their kids could hang out with me so they could we could rub off on them. So that's how I grew up. That doesn't leave once you go to college. So that's what you're battling. Also around 2009, 2010, my mom battled cancer.
Oh.
So pancreatic cancer. So there's a lot of issues going on there.
She
beat it.
Anger.
Yeah, but a lot of anger, resentment, which is still triggering of what happened with my grandmother. Mm-hmm. So I think the accumulation of those things, that emotional whiplash, one minute I'm super high and excited and happy. The next I can't stand the person I'm looking at in the mirror. Like, you can only do that so much before you're like, man, it would be better if I'm not here. So that's where those thoughts begin to creep in.
At your lowest point, like what was that start of recovery for you? Like what triggered you to say like, hey, I don't need to feel like this. I don't need to be like this person. I can start moving in the right direction.
God gave me a sense of identity, and he did it through my name.
Okay.
So I'm very big on the power of words and names. So just when you read the Bible, the names always meant something. Mm-hmm. And I was coming out of a party, and I remember being super depressed. I'm feeling guilty again. I'm doing things I know I shouldn't be doing, but I just can't stop at this point. And I remember looking up in the sky and crying out and saying, God, if you're real, I hear about you. I kind of vaguely remember things from when I'm young. My parents talk about it. I do remember Africa. I remember, if you're real, I need you to show up and say something and tell me what's going on. I need help. And he responded, and he said, everything you need to know, it's in your name. So I did a word study on my name. So my first name is Ryan. I don't really go by Ryan just in business circles, because when I moved to California, I wanted to symbolize I'm doing something different with my life. Mm-hmm. But Ryan means king. Mm-hmm. It means royalty, ruler. So every time someone's calling me Ryan, you're calling me king or a prince. My middle name, Emmanuel, which is what I go by, means God with us. And my last name is Griffin, which is the king of mythological animals, the one that can fight a dragon on a regular basis and win. So when you put my name together, I'm a king, I'm royalty, who God is with, capable of slaying any dragon before me.
Okay.
And that's what I got. So that was the moment that I, for the first time, actually felt I have something to hold on to. Mm-hmm. So I begin to, let me just live up to what my name actually means.
Okay.
So that's where that process, and then after that, it goes to changing my friend group, to seeking out people that are just smarter than me and looking for mentors. Like, it's been an up and down process, but that would be definitely the deciding moment for the first time that I actually saw value within myself enough to want to change.
You move out here to California. I'm not going to lie. When you first told me this story, I was like, there was a song playing in my head. I'm sure you know.
What
Right.
song was this?
Some dude from West Philadelphia,
Oh,
born
my
and
God.
raised. No, I'm playing.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
So you move out here to California, right? And you move out by yourself, like alone, or did you have family out here?
I moved out here at the time with my ex-wife.
Okay. And you didn't just start your business right then and there.
Mm-mm.
So can you take us through the process of like, hey, when you were moving out here, did you get like a W-2 job before you start like, hey, I want to build my job, my own career? Or how did that look like?
Yeah, so you come out here and you're in straight survival mode.
Yeah.
So I go back to what I know, which is just hustling type thing. So
Okay.
I'm selling water. I'm doing whatever, a bunch of odd jobs here. Uber and me became really good friends.
Okay.
You know, so tip your Uber drivers because it's a thing. It's a thing for real. I did Uber a lot. And then I got into construction. I hate construction, but bless their hearts for whatever. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
But I did a bunch of odd jobs there. And then my resume was on Indeed. Back in Philly, I worked in prisons. That was one of the first jobs that I got out, like in my field. I got out of that just because of it's intense and I moved. So I'm like, man, I kind of want to step away from all of that. Let me find something else. But nothing was landing. And then I randomly get a job at a rehab center. They just sent me a message. Hey, we saw your resume on Indeed. Come in for an interview. Sure. So that's how I went. So my first job was in a rehab center and it's a W-2 job. And they hired me on as a case manager.
Oh, wow.
That's how I got started when I first got out here.
Okay. And what made you start taking the steps to like, hey, you know what? This is great and all, but I can start my own company.
The industry.
Okay.
The industry in itself. So as you're in that industry, there's a lot of things that I don't agree with. But at times I'm also limited because you have higher ups above you. One of the things I didn't like was feeling like I have to spin or lie to a client for the sake of insurance.
Okay.
I understand it is a business, so they say you can't actually tell you that the client is doing better. We always have to push it towards negative or things, and I just didn't like sometimes in the industry when I would see clients that really wanted help but didn't have good insurance, not being able to get it, and those that had really good insurance that don't actually even want to change. And so I did that. The other thing was I love teaching. I hate paperwork.
Okay.
Which is horrible as a case manager.
Yeah.
So I know everything about the client, but there's nothing documented.
Yeah.
So I was always getting in trouble because staff meetings, I can tell you what's going on, what the plan is, all that, but there's nothing in the chart.
Oh, wow.
And a friend, a buddy of mine, he was doing full-time facilitating and he was always going on trips. And I said, bro, how are you able to survive, but you're always traveling? And that's when he told me. So that was the first time just launching out, got into my ear. And he said, you should try it. You have really good groups. People like you. Why not? So that's that's the process of how I started.
And then how did you come up with the name Heart to Soul?
That came during the pandemic.
Okay.
So remember during the pandemic, everyone is divided. Everyone is afraid. All these kind of things. And I remember for me praying and I forgot where I heard this from, but one of the things that the person was talking about is that your spirit and your soul doesn't know lack. It doesn't know fear. It doesn't know insecurity. These are things that are the heart issue from just being human. And so the idea would be, how can we bridge your humanity or the concept of everything that makes you beautiful as a human with the boldness that your spirit man or your soul man actually has. So the very essence of our teaching, psychology and theology, is how can we bridge that gap so we're no longer able or no longer fighting fear or anxiety. So that's where the name came from, bridging the idea between your heart and your soul and what that would look like.
Okay. Wow. I like that.
Thank you.
One of the issues that I have with business owners is they don't really tell us about their first steps, right? And as someone who like has been around a lot of different business individuals, you could feel like you're kind of lost when you take those first few steps. I mean, tremendously lost.
Yes. Understatement.
It's an understatement.
Understatement.
Right? Like you could be ready for the world. You have your certificates, all of it. And then you step outside and you're like, what now?
Yeah.
Can you take us through that first like moment when you stepped out and you're like, hey, okay, what now?
It's funny you said that. Me and my fiance, we have this running joke where I'll say like, hey, babe, ask me if I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know? And she was like, do you know? And I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know? And she'll say the same thing. And it's a joke that we have to kind of just understand that, hey, it's okay not to know. There were two things for me that pushed me in that direction. And it was, before you step out, you have to have a mentality shift.
Okay.
And I got the mentality shift from just reading. So 2 books that I've read was Ready, Fire, Aim, and then Built to Sell. Well, Ready, Fire, Aim, Built to Sell, and Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what it taught me was that wealthy people, it was a perspective shift. So it's not about, so in the book, he says, poor mentality is I can't do something. Wealthy mentality is how can I? So the question you're asking for is what now? Before that happens is I have to have a destination of where do I want to go. Doesn't matter if I don't know how to get there yet. I at least need to know where I'm going to go, and then the path will illuminate. That part came from Ready, Fire, Aim, which he talks about you'll never be 100% ready. But when you gather enough resources, just fire in the direction you want to go, and wherever you land, now you make adjustments.
Yeah.
So that was my thought process that caused me to step out. The first thing I did was I asked, how much money am I making working 8 hours?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's assume 50 grand, for example.
Okay.
Right.
8 hours, 50 grand?
Oh, no. I mean,
My guy, bro, can you hire me?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? You know? Goodness, 50 grand, 8 hours. So, for example, I broke it down by day.
Okay.
So
right.
8 hour shift, let's be modest or humble, you know.
Okay.
Say you work $20-$25 an hour.
Fair.
Right? Fair.
Okay.
So that's about $200 for 8 hour shift. So the question is, how can I make $200 in a day? What are other things I can do to make $200 in the day?
Okay.
That's the first step that I did. And then that's where I began to look into, okay, well, what skills do I have? I'm good at teaching. Nice. So how much can I charge per group if I were to teach a group specifically? That's how I modified my rates. What I did after that was on my day off, I just tried it. Day off, basically went to a facility. Hey, this is what I do. I run groups. I have the certification. I have this. I'll come in. And my first group was a trial group. Didn't even charge them. I'll come in and teach for free.
Okay.
But I promise you that I'm going to be better than whatever facilitator that you have. So I did, ran the group. After the group, the guy immediately said, hey, come upstairs. Talk to me. What's your rate? I didn't even have rates at the time. I was like, all right, just fired off a number and then like prayed, you know? And he said, okay, cool, no problem. When can you start?
Should I ask for more?
That's what I said. That's what I said. But prayed and yeah, it went through. So I said, okay. So I created a schedule on my day off.
Okay.
I'm making this. And I recognize, man, I'm making what I make in a day in an hour or an hour and a half or whatever. And then that I just, I talked to him, the owner of that facility, and asked if he knows anybody else because I'm doing different things. Again, this is before I even had the business name or anything. This is just still under me. And then he connected me with another person. So I did the same model. I'll come in, I'll teach for free. So same concept. And now we're negotiating rates. And in the meantime, I begin to do research on what separates good facilitators or good teachers or therapists versus others. And I just nickeled and dimed it. That's how I did it. Once I made enough in that day, I said, I can actually do this
Full time.
part-time.
Okay.
So I told my job, my W-2, that I want part-time.
Ah.
They weren't happy, but
Yeah.
it's either part-time or nothing. So they agreed to part-time. So then I filled up my schedule part-time. Then I recognize I'm making more money part-time than I am with this. And that's when I told them, hey, I think I'm going to actually step away
Yeah.
and do this full-time. And that's the process of how I launched out.
For those who don't know, right, when you're branching out and doing these things, you are a coach for those who are in need of rehab. Was that your
Part of it. Well, it started off with targeting rehab, but rehab was secondary because the degree in theology with psychology, the niche is actually behavior modification.
Okay.
More than rehab. I go into rehab because that was available, but my bread and butter has always been about behaviors and relationships and those kind of things. And so when I do coaching, it's a plethora of things. So we have a division that's specifically for coaching. We have a division that we train facilitators, a division that we provide facilities with therapists.
This is now.
This is now.
Yeah.
But it's still the essence, the core. But when I launched out, it was mainly rehab. And then in my groups, I began to incorporate things of behavior, incorporate spirituality, just to see how they received it and they loved it.
Yeah.
So that's how that segue happened.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend, you and I.
Yeah.
And when I hear him talk about you as a friend, and if you have a different friend who's going through trauma or, drugs or whatever the case may be, you as a friend feel helpless, right? Because you're like, hey man, it's easy as 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Stop doing it.
Yeah.
Right. But then you quickly realize that, okay, if you take a step back and you look at your own self, you have your own vices. Whether that means you eat too much, you're like, hey man, it's simple as 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
Or, those who have like addictions to pornography, which is like, or social media or things of that nature, that you're like, oh, that's not as bad as drugs, for example. But you're like, yeah, but those are still vices. And yet you're giving, advice of saying like, hey, it's simple as doing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Right. And so hearing him talk to you or talk about you and the way that you're doing behavioral shifts and trying to change these people from just the behavior aspect, in doing so, I think you give a lot of people hope and second chances. Right. And so how did you know that you could do something like that? Like, how did you fill in those shoes? Because those are some pretty big shoes to fill.
I think first and foremost, there is a concept called radical acceptance, which is the things you go through aren't for you, but for the people that you're supposed to help. So what I decided to do in my teaching is I would teach people the way that I learn. I'm stubborn. I don't like authority. I'm argumentative. So you can't just tell me something without me challenging you.
Yeah.
So I begin to teach that way. So it may come off as assertive, but all my clients know I'm willing to go toe to toe with you, not in an aggressive sense, but because I understand we're sharpening our minds together. What a lot of clients have is I'm coming and I'm just telling you what you should do versus walking you through it.
Okay.
If I can reason with you and logically prove to you, we're not talking about science, we're not talking about emotion, we're just talking about just facts of the situation. Okay? So it's one of those things. The other thing that helped is I told them that there are multiple pathways to the same destination.
That's fair.
And just because you're struggling specifically with this pathway, that doesn't mean that there isn't a path for you. If you want it.
How do you get them to know that they want it though? Like I've seen people, they want to change, right? Actually everybody wants to change.
Sure.
So they want it, but they don't really want it.
Yeah. That you just said it. They don't actually want it. You want it in word, not in action. when you want something, you'll move heaven and earth to get it. That means if I'm not willing to move heaven and earth, that means there's other priorities. I just show the light on what your priorities actually are. And sometimes people don't like that image, but it's not I'm not sugarcoating it. This is what it is. For example, I'll have clients, specifically in a rehab setting, they love to say, oh, I need to leave and I got to get better because I got to get better for my kids.
Right.
Okay. Sounds nice, unrealistic. And I'll tell them. So I'll ask them, okay, your reason for getting better is your kids. And I said, they were like, yeah. Were you still using with your kids in the picture? Well, yeah. That means it sounds nice, but they're not enough to get you sober. They can be a benefit. We can add it, but there's got to be something else. It's having those kind of conversations. But those are hard conversations because it really shows us as individuals where our priorities. Wow, I really chose this substance or this behavior or this person over somebody. So now there's guilt and shame. You come in, you don't have to feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
There's something that I teach from, and it's one of my favorite quotes. And that quote is, the person that you had to become to survive is someone you need to say goodbye to. Okay? That person or individual is not a bad person. It's just that version can't take you to where you need to go. So I don't teach guilt and shame. I teach letting go of a behavior that once was useful. You've grown into somebody else, which means we have to pick up new behaviors. Case in point, when a child is going through trauma, the way they handle it is they disassociate. Makes sense. Well, what does disassociation look like now as an adult?
It has to get pretty bad.
It looks like isolation.
Yeah.
Now try to isolate in a relationship.
Not going to work.
But the behavior is the same. You see what I mean?
Okay.
So it's shining lights on that. The behavior itself, it protected you at one point in time, which is why we keep going back to it. But if I'm in a relationship now, if I'm an adult now, if I'm doing something different now, that same behavior is now part of the issue that I'm having. So the question is, what behaviors would actually be useful for the person who I am now? Those are the kind of conversations which are very different. Those are the conversations that give you like hope and acceptance.
Yeah. When you're building your business, what has had to be the hardest moment that you've had, or the most challenging moments, whether that's emotional, financial, structural? What does that look like for you? Like the most challenging?
I can't even say, man. I think it just goes up and down. It depends. I was joking with somebody and I said, you do realize entrepreneurial broke is a different type of broke.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not like W-2. Oh, I gotta wait. No, we need invoices and I don't know where
Yeah.
So I think that was very difficult. Taxes is different. From a W-2 to being an entrepreneur, 1099 or whatever, that was super scary. And I think one of the hardest challenges, honestly, was learning how to have enough confidence in myself so people would have confidence in me to hire me. I think that was really challenging. I know what I've been through. I know my own fears, my own insecurities, but you don't. I can't show you that if I'm coming off as a professional. So there was a lot of emotional growing that I had to do to recognize, again, that whole separation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's how it is. Finances, the taxes, learning how to market yourself. Those are really scary. Anytime you're dealing with clearances, like FBI clearances, and like these are all new things.
Yeah.
And everyone knows if you're generally starting a business, a lot of times you don't have the money for an attorney or a lawyer. So everything is Google, ChatGPT, or a family friend that practices a version of law that's not the law you need,
but can help you
out.
Yeah.
So it's those kind of things or all hurdles that I had to.
Did you see a mind shift for yourself when you went from part-time and did your own gig to full time, and I think now you have employees,
Yeah,
right? That's a
Yeah.
whole different other beast in itself.
it is. There definitely was a mind shift when I was more comfortable going full time versus when I started getting employees,
Interesting.
because I don't have a problem relying on myself. If things go wrong,
It's because of me.
it's because of me, and I'll figure it out because I've done it before. Now, if things go wrong, I got families that I have to feed. That's scary.
Very scary.
I remember the first time me and my fiance were sitting down and we're doing payroll. Our hands are all sweaty. Like we don't want the numbers to be wrong and stuff. And like we just fire it off and like I hope everything goes well and no one calls us cursing us out the next day. And it went well, but that responsibility is heavy. Knowing that, because it's nice, but it's also scary. Knowing because of me, family is eating. They won't be able to pay their bills if I'm not responsible.
Yeah.
That's heavy. When I launched out on myself, it was more of, this is fun, this is exciting, it's scary, but I am an adventurous person. Let's just see how far it goes.
Yeah.
Now we've developed more into mature and structure and things of that, all that stuff.
What's one structure that you had to build really quickly?
Time management.
Okay.
Time management. I know you guys can't see her. My lovely fiance is in here. That is the one that handles the time management because I'm the dreamer. Every project sounds like a great idea to me. And she would be so angry. I'm like, you can't just start one. I'm like, no, but hear this and see.
Yeah.
So it was being teachable. So the very first thing is I had to learn how to manage my calendar and my schedule. I'll work myself to the ground, but then to be depleted and then be out of commission for months.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing that had to shift, and I had to bring on someone to help me because I'm horrible at time management.
That's so well. This goes into my next question.
Okay.
Right. So this job that you have is very demanding.
Yeah.
Because you're always talking to different people. You're always coaching. You have to be everywhere all the time, and you have to be everything to everyone all the time. Right. And so in doing so and coaching, right, that leaves problems at home. Right.
Yeah.
So what did you have to do in your personal life to kind of balance those two?
Two things. The first thing is recognizing that it's a job.
Okay.
It's not me. Okay. That the job will come and go, but I only have this body in this lifetime. The second thing is your family comes before work.
Okay.
So what we did is we put ground rules. We sat down and I asked her, what are you okay with? What are you looking for? And so she told me, here's what I'm expecting. And then we went into negotiations. Hey, that's realistic, but that's not, based upon where we're trying to go and what I'm seeing. And she worked with me. So the rules we put in place were simple. The first rule is outside of emergencies, I'm not allowed to work past 10 o'clock.
Fair. Okay.
So 10 o'clock, phone goes down. I don't care if I'm in the middle of something. Unless it's an emergency, everything stops. The second thing that we put in place was dates are a must. Having dates are a must. And when we're on dates, we're not talking about business.
It's hard.
It's very hard. She's given me a lot of grace. We don't talk about business. And the third thing and she's been really helpful for this, she makes sure that I schedule time for self-care, whatever that is, whether it's me, whether it's going to the gym, these things are necessary for me to function to the capacity that I do. And you find out when you're working out, rest days are just as important as gym days. So seeing your work schedule the same way, scheduling rest works wonders. That's how you avoid burnout.
Any non-negotiables between yourself and maybe your fiance?
I don't think we really have non-negotiables. I mean, we have a relationship where it's about mutual respect, obviously. So don't do anything that the other person wouldn't be okay with. I guess if anything, a non-negotiable would be outside of an emergency, We run everything by each other. And it's not that I can't make a decision or she can't make a decision. It's just two minds are better than one. And if we're a team and we're going in the same direction, you might see something that I miss. I might see something that you miss. So that is what and it goes all the way down to little things outside of like gas or whatever. Hey, I went to the business account. I took this amount of money out. Hey, babe, I went to the business and I had to do whatever. But you don't have to tell me because I'm going to see it. But that communication is just something that we've established that has worked wonders.
It's so funny you mentioned that. So two things I've kind of learned from my parents. I thought it was cheesy, but as I'm growing up, I'm kind of more and more I'm doing it, right? Mm-hmm. So by trait, my dad's an engineer. By trait, my mom is a housewife, right? Nice. A homemaker. And every time he would do something like, hey, we're going to go buy this fourplex because it's going to help our family, right? My mom has the utmost trust in him. Mm-hmm. But yet he sits there and explains it to her. I'm like, why? Like as a kid, I'm like, why? You don't need permission. You know what you're doing. She knows that you know what you're doing. Why? And one time I asked him, I was like, finally, I'm like, dude, you're an engineer. Like, no disrespect to my mom. Love my mom, but she doesn't know anything about this domain. Yeah. Why explain it to her? And he's like, because she's always has to be in the known. Like everything has to be in the known. And if I'm talking it through with her, again, she could see something that I'm not seeing. Yeah. And number two, it's just to give her that like sense of, hey, we're communicating. Yeah. So that was like the very first thing. Yeah. Second thing, we were like in a timeshare, whatever shenanigans. Yeah. And the guy asked my dad, he's like, how did you guys make this work for over 30 years? Mm-hmm. And he's like, simple. Never change the other person, only change yourself. I'm like, bro, you want a hallmark for that?
That's a bar.
You want a hallmark for that? I was like, that's amazing. So cheesy.
That was amazing though.
And then like, I guess because everyone in our age wants something profound. Yeah. We want like something that you say and it's like, oh my God, like I can eat those words. Yeah. But then I start thinking about what my dad says as I get older. I'm like, he's absolutely right. Like I should be the best version for that other person. And if that person is the best version for me, like we're going to have a very solid relationship. Obviously there's more to build on it, but that alone, like you're putting your best foot forward. I'm like, man, like, so it's funny that you mentioned that.
I think it's profound. There's also something that I want to add to that I learned. And the reality is she should be able to do what I do if something happens to me. Yeah. The way that me personally, that my father has raised me is that if something were to happen to me, the business should still keep going. Okay. The only way that happens, you're not going to think exactly like me. Sure. But you should have enough understanding that if God forbid, I get into an accident, I'm in a coma. Does that mean all the contracts stop? Does that mean the therapists don't get paid? You got to have someone that knows, in a sense, I trust her with everything. Yeah. So now it's also one, communication, but I'm also using it as a backup plan because this is what we plan to pass down to the next generation. So I think that's also something as well, too. It's the whole team member. Yeah. Yeah.
What's one thing that you wish someone told you before starting your journey?
Ooh, man, there's so many. There's so many when you start a business that I wish that I knew. I guess in the idea of business, I wish someone had taught me the structures of just creating an LLC first, what that looks like. Because there's a lot of benefits that happen once I actually created something that you don't actually get to partake in as a W-2, just tax benefits and all those kind of things. The second thing that I wish that someone would have told me just from the beginning is the same concept of just do the hard thing. Don't avoid it. Procrastination has hurt me multiple times in launching out, and procrastinating simply because I'm uncertain or I'm afraid has cost me a lot. And I feel that if I had learned to trust my instincts earlier on, the results would have been different. Jeff Bezos, I think it was him who said, I have failed more than most people have tried. You just got to do it. There's no easy way around it. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's scary. But if you launch out and ask for 15 people or try to do 15 contracts, 14 can say no, but that one that says yes could be all the difference.
I think part of it too is if you have a family, like I can just speak for myself. Like if I have a family, my risk tolerance is a little bit lower than being single.
For sure.
Right. And so if I fail, that might be more catastrophic than if I fail by myself.
Yeah.
If I fail by myself, I'm cool with the couch and, I'll figure it out. If I'm 100, 200,000 in debt, like we can climb out of it. It's going to be long, but
yeah,
we climb out of it. I think it's a little bit harder for those who have families. Not an excuse, but I think it's a little bit harder for them.
It's definitely difficult, but I think if we're communicating, that erodes a lot of that fear. If me and my fiance or whoever you guys have, your partner, your husband, your wife, if you guys are on the same page and we are building, it's not just my vision. This is our vision. It does make it easier. It's scary, but at least I know that if something were to go wrong, my partner's not going to turn on me.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. That's why communication is key. The second thing with that is make sure you have backup plans for your backup plan. So if this doesn't work, what does failing look like? If you can visualize it and see how you have to maneuver, it does make it a little less scary versus the unknown.
Okay.
But that all comes in the planning stages of when you should be planning your infrastructure to begin with.
Yeah. One of the things that hit home for me this year, we were interviewing a priest in December.
Okay.
And he said, like, how can you fail? You can never fail. Because God gave you the spirit of wisdom, power, and love.
Yeah.
So how can you fail? So then I pushed back and I was telling him, well, what about like a kid that fails their exam, for example? It's like, then that's an experience. And so now you learn. And now for the next step, you understand what is necessary to pass that.
Yeah.
So we can't, failure is a fear, and we weren't here to have fear.
For sure.
So I'm like, okay, that's a very interesting take, from someone like him. I would picture him just say like, hey, just pray about it and everything will be all right. But to go into such depth,
I like that. I mean, it makes sense when you have the whole concept. So the Bible says, God says, I have given you the ability to generate wealth. I think it's in like Deuteronomy or something like that. And this is also why I think spirituality and psychology and things, I think it's important to fuse it, because there's been multiple times where my faith has been able to push me in areas that I physically can't see. In doing that, you're right. If God said, I'm going to give you food, clothing, and shelter, and those are the main sources of our issues, and he already said, I'm going to take care of it, what else is there? So that does allow a sense of freedom to try and explore based upon whatever our skills and talents are.
As you progress and continue to progress, long term, where do you see taking Heart to Soul? Sorry.
Ideally,
Yeah.
internationally.
Internationally.
I want to go international. I think the message that we have is a message that the world needs to hear, especially in a time of pain. And we are looking on different branches on how to do that. We have a couple projects coming up. There are some ideas that I have about humanitarian work on a nonprofit side. The goal of Heart to Soul would be able to fund the projects that other people won't.
Such as,
So,
like, just an example.
I have a heart for at-risk youth.
Okay.
I think that the most misunderstood demographic. If you can deal and heal that generation, that's how you change a nation. And I think a lot of those kids just need to be loved on. We don't give them any alternative. We tell them what not to do, but what we and semi teach them, oh, well, you should do this, but explain it to me. So, for example, I'm from Philly, and you tell me, hey, start a business, but you didn't explain to me how. What's the only businesses I see? Drug dealers, music videos.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I see.
Yeah.
Or the poppy store on the corner. And they're all ran by Indians. So it's like,
Right.
how? How do you start a business?
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this. I didn't know about taxes. I didn't know what a 1099 was. I didn't know how to file I didn't know anything. So you got to teach them. But if you come in on a corporate level, they're not going to relate to you.
Yeah.
So you have to reach them where they're at. So those are the kind of projects that we want to fund. On one side, we have a division that'll be launching out probably in the next couple of months called Frontline Collective Network. And that is geared specifically towards first responders, helping them deal with burnout, teaching them the same type of skills. Because if you guys are going into the communities, but you guys are unhealed emotionally, you're just causing more trauma. So our goal is to attack this problem or some of these issues from multiple sides based upon the unique skills that people that decide to come and partner with our organization, whatever that looks like. I want to make sure that I give back. I want to be able to, when I worked in the prison, I noticed a big issue they had was reintegration.
Yeah.
The system isn't set up for you to actually succeed.
Okay.
So one of the things that I'm in the process of doing is creating a curriculum to go in and teach them. They pass the curriculum that automatically qualifies them to come work for us.
Okay.
And then plug them back in the communities that they came from. You got to give people an alternative. You can't just punish them. You just can't critique them. You got to show them this is how. You can't just speak it out.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things. And I believe when you get that something like that off the ground, not only do people get behind it, because I feel we are in a world where people are hungry. They want change. They want healing.
They just don't know how to look for it.
They just don't know how to look for it.
Yeah. Do you have anything, I know you kind of touched on it. Do you have anything that's exciting up and coming right now?
Well, two things. I guess the most exciting thing, because it's the most relevant, would be the Frontline Collective Network.
Okay.
That, like I said, is specifically geared solely for first responders. So police, firefighters, veterans.
Yeah.
And we're in the process of working with or getting connected with unions and union reps to provide basically therapeutic consultations for individuals. So the reason why this is exciting is because we're trying to prevent the burnout.
Okay.
So before you have to actually go see a therapist or a psychologist or all that, we're working as the buffering zone.
Yeah.
That's one project. The second project that we're working on is called Tribus Animus. It's an animated series that we're working on, taking the same essence and principles of our teaching, but just pushing it towards an animated format.
That's awesome.
And so those two things I'm super excited about.
Okay.
So I think those are coming down. Yeah.
All right. Last thing is, for those who want to reach out to you and those that want to find your page, can you look into the camera and tell them like the website they can find you, any social handling or handles that they can find you at?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to get in touch with us, the Instagram is Heart to Soul Legacy. So it's Heart, the number 2, Soul Legacy, Heart to Soul Legacy. The website is hearttosoullegacy.com. And we should have contact information on there. or you could email us at contact@hearttosoul.com. So those are the three things that if you want to get in touch or partner with us, that's how you can get a hold of us.
My man.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here, man.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you guys for being with us again. As always, I appreciate you guys. Season 3 is under the way. We're on the outro.